Hello, my awesome friends. How you doing? It's your buddy Phil here, project management trainer and coach. I hope you're doing well. Today on the screen, you can see a publication. It's called Process Groups, a Practice Guide. Now, when you dig deeper into what is going on here, the PMI have probably realized that the 6th edition that they decided not to print is actually still in demand. The 6th edition is in such high demand that it appears they've realized that all the noise I was making back in 2019, 2020, 2021, it wasn't just hot air. Remember what I said, disaster waiting to happen? Remember what I said about going away from your bread and butter, what people had known the PMI for? It wasn't a good idea. Well, this just shows you. So now we have yet another guide. Let me just ask you this. This is just honest and transparent. If the 7th edition was all that, why do we need another process groups, a practice guide on top? It's because the 7th lacks the substance to sustain the community. And that's just me telling you the honest truth that I have identified. The 7th edition is void of a lot of content. It has some good points like the value delivery system, like the concept of metrics and measurements. I like the whittling down of ITTOs, but when it comes to substance to support traditional projects, the 7th doesn't cut it. It just doesn't. Let's have a very quick look at Amazon. I want to show you something on Amazon. Let's go. So it might shock you that this is on Amazon, and it ain't cheap. It's $59.95. There's about 200 plus pages, going on 300 if I'm not mistaken, in this new so it's kind of like the 7th edition has 300 pages. You add this, it's like you got the full picture now, you see. Now, let me show you the 6th edition, PMBOK Guide 6th edition. I want to show you what the PMBOK Guide 6th edition is going for. So to rent it, $52. To buy it, $93.99. Do you see that? That's a chunk of change. That's a lot of money. And that's because it's in high demand. Now let's look for the PMBOK Guide 7th edition. Here's the 7th. $44. A measly $44 to buy it. Why? It's all about value, my friends. It's all about value. So going back to where we were, taking a look at this new process groups, a practice guide, it says this title will be released on November 15th. But if you are a PMI member, you can actually go in there and download your copy. I've downloaded my copy, and the purpose of this today is to give you my unfiltered opinion, as always, because you know I can't keep my mouth shut. I got to tell you the truth. And I'm going to comment on what I see. I'm going to juxtapose it with the 6th. I'm going to give you my unfiltered opinion. So let's read together real quick. Need help on how to get work done using traditional project management practices? Then Process Groups, a practice guide, is the right supplemental guide for you. This important companion to a guide to the project management body of knowledge, PMBOK Guide, offers useful and practical guidance. So why am I laughing? Because all along, if they had just followed what I said, don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. If they had listened, this stuff would have been whittled down conveniently into the 7th edition. But they didn't. So here we are with more paperwork, more books, as if it wasn't bad enough as it is. It is. So my friends, do I advise you to read this for your exam? Absolutely not. Do I advise you to read this for any exam? I don't. I would advise that you stick to the 6th edition, which is no longer in publication, but you can still find some copies, some used copies in circulation. You know, it's not a bad one to look at all, the 6th edition. So it says, so this is the first time I'm hearing this kind of language from PMI. Let's read. It says, This important companion to a guide, the PMBOK guide, offers useful and practical guidance for predictive. They said, oh, waterfall. I've never heard PMI use that word. So that's definitely some new influence there. But I would rather stick to the word predictive because waterfall is very specific. And waterfall is actually not only predictive in nature, it's also iterative. For those who haven't looked at the Rolls-Royce model from way back, they're iterative feedback loops. But anyway, this practice guide influences your way of working, ensuring you are equipped with the information you need to succeed in this changing profession. What's in this guide? You'll find a process-based project management approach for guiding your projects, aligning methodologies, and evaluating project management capabilities. This guide uses a popular process group model that will help you with initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling and closing. In addition, you'll learn about the 49 processes within these 5 process groups, the inputs, tools, techniques, outputs associated with those processes. This practice guide shows the processes considered good practices on most projects most of the time. So like I said, my gut is telling me people have been moaning. Customers, they don't like stuff like this when they're not able to find resources they need for projects that are of a predictive nature. Now, I'm going to open up the book. I'm not allowed to share it on the screen, so I am not going to do that. That will be violating the IP. So you can go ahead and open up the book yourself, but I'm going to comment on the chapters, okay? So there's a preface, and it talks about the process groups at a high level, and then it goes into table of contents. The chapter 1 is introduction. Honestly, this is a direct cutout of PMBOK Guide 6, right? Chapter 2 is a project environment, and after that, it pretty much is a cutout, if you will, from pages 561 to 635 down. Because it approaches the content not by chapters as it is in the 6th edition, but it covers it by process groups, which is at the back of the 6th edition. So if you've looked at the 6th edition and you've seen pages 561 to 635, then you've seen all of this stuff. All right, so like I said, you got chapter 1, which is like ripping out chapter 1 in PMBOK. You got also the 5 process groups, the 10 knowledge areas. You got the 49 processes, as they were. But it's really by process group from page 561 to 635. They bring to the surface a few things like tailoring. In chapter 2 of the PMBOK Guide 6, we talk about, actually chapter 1, it's in the same chapter. We talk about the business case and the benefits management plan and the relevance of these business documents. Page 89 in the PMBOK Guide is on page 33 here. And then it goes into the project environment, which is the same as the 6th edition. And it also goes into the role of the project manager, pretty much the same as it was in the 6th edition. Now, one of the things they did in chapter 3, instead of leadership and the other PMI talent triangle descriptions, they have changed the image to read the ways of working, power skills, and business acumen. So kind of shifted those around, brought in the new terminology, and they've left a lot of the old stuff that was there intact. But when you hit chapter 4, it now goes into the process group. So chapter 4 is initiating process group, chapter 5 is planning, on and on and on and on. So this is going to form a reference tool for those that don't have the 6th edition. And this is what I'd said all along. I'd always told people, read from page 561 to 635 in the 6th edition, and that will get you to where you need to. And that's pretty much what this does. It takes everything across the guide from 561 to 635, which is like a condensed version, and it puts it all into one book. It's actually quite big. It's actually 370 pages. So you forget what I said about 200 pages. It's 370 pages. So when you add this to the 7th edition, then you can see what the true volume of all of this stuff really is, if you get my point. See? So again, you got it. It's out there. You can click, take a look. You let me know what you think. I think it would have just been nice to incorporate this stuff, whittle it down a little bit more and incorporate it into the most recent PMBOK guide, but in lieu of that, I guess this is the best that can be done for now. All right, my friends, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it made sense. If you got questions, put them in the comments below. Please don't go buying this thing. There's no need, absolutely no need. All right, talk to you soon. Bye for now.